Hi guys! I just have some craft room updates to share with you guys. So these are some questions that I've been having from some people, or I guess some answers to some questions and just some updates on what you can expect from my channel for the next little while. So first of all, in terms of December documented, yes, I'm going to be doing it. I'm not entirely sure what it's going to look like. So last year I famously started a really big project for December and I did not complete it. In fact, I not only didn't complete it, I barely did any of it. Last year our Christmas holiday and celebration type of season was really different than it normally is. And I kind of just barely got through it without documenting. So it was just like extremely busy, and a lot of things happened that don't typically happen. And my whole concept behind my documenting December last year for 2016 was December documented and de-stressed. And my only way to keep it de-stressed was to not document it at all, because adding anything to my plate last December would have kind of like tipped me over. So I'd rather stay upright than be tipped over. So that's the approach that I took. So the result of that is that now what I did was I had put together all of these prompts and basically a complete program for the month of December that I didn't do. And I know some of you guys did it because you showed me, and some of you very recently finished that project. So kudos to you guys for being able to document your December. I would really love to document my December 2017. So what I think I'm going to do is pull out that prompt document that I came up with last year, because I haven't used it yet. And even if I had used it, I think it's the kind of system that you really could use year after year. I don't think I necessarily need to change it just because it's a new year. So I'm going to be trying to do that. Now, I say that with great reservation because I don't want to have the same thing happen that happened last year, where I feel kind of like obligated to do a certain number of videos. So I'm going to see how it goes and do as much as I can, and I'll probably do it in chunks instead of giving you a video every day, which was my my goal for last year. I think that was just too much of a lofty goal for me, given that this isn't my full-time gig. I do have another full-time job that I work almost 40 hours a week at, and then I also have, you know, like the holidays are a busy time anyways. So I think that it probably just wasn't very reasonable for me to think that I could do that last year. So I'm going to try to do something a little bit more reasonable this year. So I'm going to call it December Documented and De-Stressed Take 2. So we'll see if I can get it done this year. This is the album I'm going to be using. Hooray! I love it. Look at this beautiful album. I'm going to be using this one to scrapbook my December documented. So keep an eye out for that. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. Second thing is room changes. My room is a changin'. So as you guys can you see there? Yes, I have a checkered floor now. Some of you noticed on my Rascog video that I have a new floor. Thank you so much for all of your compliments. I laid it myself, and it's still not done over there in the corner, where if you followed me for a while, you know that my corner over there, the floor hasn't been finished for a while, like the subfloor hasn't been finished. So since the subfloor isn't finished, I can't put tile on it. And so that's still hanging out over there being disgusting and gross. So at some point I am going to get those tiles cut, like the subfloor tiles cut and laid, and then I can finish up the floor. The flooring is, I've been joking around with my family because the flooring is actually just peel and stick tiles. It's super easy. It's like doing crafts, but it's household DIY renovations. It's really easy, and they're also very inexpensive. So and basically the reason I decided to use peel and stick tiles on my floor is because if I put in laminate floor, it would raise my floor just by a little tiny bit, but that little tiny bit would be enough to throw off everything, because I have a 17-foot desk here at 17 feet long, and it's connected to my wall at exactly the perfect height that allows me to have my two Jetmax cubes stacked underneath of it. And if my floor went up, those Jetmax wouldn't fit there anymore unless if my whole table came up, and I really don't want to raise my table. So that's why I went with peel and stick. And basically all that I did was I pulled out my Jetmax and stuck down that part of the floor, and then put my Jetmax back, moved the Jetmax, and peeled and sticked that part of the floor. Peel and sticked? Peel and stuck? I don't know. Anyhow, and I just basically, I didn't take my room apart at all. I just moved every little thing bit by bit by bit and laid the flooring underneath of it and then moved everything back. So that's what I did. But while I was doing that, I also took advantage of the opportunity to do a little bit of tidying, a little bit of purging, and a little bit of moving things around. And I am storing several things differently than I did in my last scrap room video. So I will be making a new scrap room video very soon, or not. Whenever I'm done, I will do a scrap room tour. So then my third thing that I'm getting questions about is classes. So classes, thank you guys so much for your support for everybody who purchased my Take 10 texture class. It was so much fun to make. It's been out for a little over a year now, and it was really, really successful, and I think it was helpful for a lot of people. It seems like people are still referencing it and having fun going back and rewatching some of the videos. So thank you so much if you purchased Take 10 and Take 10 texture. And I know that I had been talking a lot about another class that I had in the works. It was a phase of life scrapbooking course that not only talked about, you know, ways to scrapbook, but also gave a lot of journaling prompts and ideas for how to document a part of your life that you may not have much memory for, and that you may not have much ephemera hanging around, or maybe you do, right? A lot of us have a big box of stuff from our childhood years, but I don't. And that you may not have many photos for. I don't have much of anything of my high school years, and so it's been a real challenge for me, but I have been really enjoying creating this class of basically a series of 10 or 11. It might end up being more because I'm approaching the end and I still have more ideas of what I want to include in this class. So anyhow, I do have a scrapbooking the high school years or / phase of life. It could be any phase. It doesn't have to be the high school years. It could be middle school years. It could be college years. But that kind of time of your life when you're really focused on school and friends and first jobs and lots of things are happening. So that class is in the works and I have a lot of progress done on it. And what I've decided to do with that class is to flip it over to Patreon content. So the reason I decided to do that is that my Patreon page has been doing really, really well, and I would really like to have something more that I can give my tiaras over on Patreon. And so I decided that putting my classes up on Patreon would be a really nice way to roll out the class without having to have the whole thing all packaged and ready to go, but it still allows me to share it with people and to share it with people who have been supporting me and you know, being part of my community over there. So if you're interested in documenting your high school years or your college years or that phase of life, just hop on over to Patreon and check out what I have over there. Sign up if you haven't already, if you're interested in receiving that kind of content. There's a lot of extra content over there. I try to keep my YouTube channel here of free content. I try to keep it up to date and fresh as well, but I do have a whole lot of additional content over on my Patreon page. Over there I have real-time scrapbooking. We do live streams every month, and also now I have that class, and there's also a couple of exclusive process videos and other kinds of videos throughout the month that are posted over on Patreon just for my tiaras over there. So check that out if you're interested. But if you are not able to support me over on Patreon or not interested in doing that, that is totally okay. You can still support me right here on YouTube just by watching my videos, liking them, commenting if you'd like. That's all really great. I am not going anywhere. I'm staying here, and you'll still be getting new content from me every single week. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about was my series of videos that I've been doing on large those large words. So I have been scrapbooking with the Dear Lizzie giant chipboard words that I adore, that came in the October Hip Kit Club, and I have been having so much fun with those pages. And so I have a series of process videos. One of them is over for Patreons only, but the rest of them are all public, and I've got 2 more in the works, and I think one of those is going to be for Patreon and one of them will be for my channel here. And then once they're all finished, I am going to do a kind of like a recap video where I will show you all of them. So if you're not over on Patreon, you'll get to see the ones that I made for Patreon as well. And I'll talk a little bit about how I made them and just talk a little bit about those large chipboard words and how much fun they are to use. They're one of those supplies that I was really surprised just how much I loved them until I started using them, and then I was just like in love. So if you are having trouble using those, if they came in the kit, or if you just bought them because you were curious about them, or I know some people bought them and had no idea how big they were. So if you're in any of those categories and looking for some ideas, I have 6 different ideas about how to use those titles, and they're all coming up. And probably my most creative method is over there, still not done. So keep an eye out on my channel for that one as well. So the last thing I wanted to mention was that I have a bunch of videos that are still on the radar. So these are videos that I mentioned I would be doing, and then they sort of fell off my plate. They basically, other videos got stacked on top of them as far as importance go. So I still have to do a video on my typecast typewriter, which is right there, and I have to do a kind of like a scrapbooking 101 for sewing machines. It's going to be basically like a how to use sewing machines for scrapbooking, how to thread them, how to use them, tips and that sort of thing. And the last one that is a request from one of my patrons is a trimmer video for my beginner scrapbooking series. I'm going to be adding another video to that playlist of Take the Plunge into Scrapbooking, which is a series for beginners that I have on my channel. I'll link it right there for you. It may be right there. Yeah, I think I'll link it for you right there, wherever. And so that trimmer video will be done very soon, I hope, or sort of soon. It'll be done eventually. We'll go with eventually. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks so much for supporting me here on YouTube by watching my videos and liking and commenting and subscribing and all of those good things. I really, really appreciate everything that you guys do for me. This whole thing, this whole room and all the stuff in it, and the amount of time that I'm able to dedicate to scrapbooking is all because of you guys supporting me in all of the various ways. So I really, really appreciate it. Couldn't do it without you, so thank you so much. Let me know if you have any video requests, or if you have any questions or comments that you'd like me to cover in a scrap chat or in a dedicated video. Take care and have a really great scrappy week. If you're new to my channel and haven't subscribed yet, please click on my profile picture to subscribe, and check out these other videos as well as the link to my Facebook group where we chat about fun scrapbooking topics and have a 27-day challenge with a prize every month. And there's my Patreon link as well. Take care.